ஆழ்வார் திருடிகளே சரணம், எம்பெருமானார் திருடிகளே சரணம், ஜியர் திருடிகளே சரணம், ஜியர் திருடிகளே சரணம். SrISailESa dhayApAthram dhivyaprabandham gunarnamam yatindra-pravanam vande ramya jAmAthru muni ramya jAmAthri yOgIndhra padarekāmayam sada tadāyattatma sattādhim rāmānujamunim bhaje lakshmInAtha samārambhām nityamachyutapadaṁ vijayudharukmam vyāsastājameni अस्मद्गुरोर् भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चापितायोते स्तनया भूति स्वम्यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य न कुलपते रघुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्पतञ्जलियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महताह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेण परकाले यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्. Dhivyaprabandhams are the divine renderings of AzhwArs. We saw the brief introduction about Dhivyaprabandham in the last session. We commenced this program, Dhivyaprabandham lecture series, last Saturday, and we are planning to have 2 sessions every, and we will be talking about each of the Dhivyaprabandhams given by AzhwArs in a brief manner. We may not be able to go deep into each pasuram and explain each pasuram, but we will look into the important aspects of each of the prabandhams and each of the dashakams and centums and so on. So we've seen a brief introduction last week. We saw that AzhwArs have given these Dhivyaprabandhams out of great mercy towards us. And this was the divine will of bhagavAn, that the essence of Samskrita Vedam and Vedantam should be revealed in divine pasurams in Tamil language by AzhwArs. Bhagavan also does balancing act sometimes. For example, many of the incarnations happened in the northern part of Bharatadesham. Many of the incarnations of Bhagavan. To compensate that, Bhagavan ensured that many of the AzhwArs and Acharyas incarnate in the southern part of the Bharatadesham. So while he is present there, he takes birth there, incarnate there. Made sure that the son Bharatadesham does not want some glories. He got the AzhwArs mainly to be born in the southern Bharatadesham, and subsequently many Acharyas, most of the Acharyas or Purvacharyas were born in the southern part of the Bharatadesham. This is one of the balancing acts. We have to keep everyone satisfied, and that is done by Bhagavan himself. It's not something new which we are doing. We are following Bhagavan's footsteps. Similarly, the Vedam and Vedantam, it's a single body. Vedam is the core body, and it has 2 parts, the Purvabhagam and Uttarabhagam. The Purvabhagam talks about the Aradhana, the worship methods, how to do it, and so on. It talks about the object of worship, that is Bhagavan. Who is he? What are his attributes? What are his wealth? So all of these are explained in Uttarabhagam. So the Purvabhagam is known as Karma Kandam. Uttarabhagam is known as Jnana Kandam. Both of them together makes the whole body, which is Vedam. And all of that are in Sanskrit. Videva Bhasha. Now, there are so many people in southern Bharatadesha. Many of them may not be very good in Sanskritam. Even though Sanskritam was well spread out throughout Bharatadesham since time immemorial, still there are certain restrictions in the language itself. For example, the Vedam, the four Vedams, Rig, Yajur, Atharvana and Samavedam, these are the four parts of Vedam. Again, these are also subsequently organized by Vedavyasa Bhagavan. He divides the Vedam into four parts because as he observes that in the Kali Yuga, many people may not be able to grasp the whole Vedam together. He divides the Vedam into four parts and allocates different rishis to be responsible for the propagation of each of the four parts. And different people following different Vedams, coming in the different branches of the Vedams, they can focus primarily on their own Shaka, own Vedam. And then subsequently, when they are done with their Vedam, learning their own Vedam, they can learn other Vedams. That is the tradition generally. So this is done by Vedavyasa Bhagavan so that people who have limited capacity, limited ability, can at least master one portion of the Vedam instead of trying to master everything and not being able to do it. So these four Vedams have 6 angams, ancillary portions. And Vyakaranam is one of that. Even grammar, to study grammar thoroughly, in depth, one has to have certain qualifications. Not everyone can study Vyakaranam. So, when there is certain restrictions and qualifications like this in the Sanskrita language, and also, of course, Vedam has many restrictions. To avoid all of these and to give a workaround and an alternative mechanism through which people can understand Brahman, Bhagavan. Because Vedam is the main source to know Brahman. Vedam is not just for knowing what is door, what is table, what is fan, what is bench. Because those are all understandable by Pratyaksha Pramanam. We see of something, we see a door. If even a child looks at it 3-4 days, even a toddler who can just crawl, even just by seeing the usage by parents, the toddler will know that if you have to go out, we have to open the door. So anything which can be understood by the senses, the Pratyaksha Pramanam, we don't need Vedam for that. So we need Vedam for what is not describable by any other Pramanam. So the other Pramanam is of course Anumanam, inference. Based on previous knowledge, we understand something. For example, we see on a hilltop there is smoke. We assume, we acknowledge that there is fire because we have seen in our kitchen when there is fire, there is smoke. So that we infer. That is called Anuman. So whatever is understandable by Pratyaksham and Anumanam, we don't need Vedam for that. But Atma and Bhagavan are thoroughly understandable only through Pramanam, Shastra, Vedam. To some extent, we can understand Atma and even Bhagavan through Pratyaksham and Anuman. But it will not be complete knowledge. Because different people may think about it in different ways. That is what has happened in the whole world. We see there are so many religions, so many philosophy. They are all man-made. One person thinks that God will be like this. He will be sitting on a particular high platform. He will be having some strings. He will be operating us, like pulling us here, pulling us there. That is one person's imagination. So he defines a particular philosophy, religion based on that. Another person thinks that God has no form and he will just do whatever he wants. He is all capable, all powerful. And one person's realization and one person's philosophy. So in this manner, based on pratyaksham and anumanam, based on our own senses, somebody sees that this whole world is there. There must be a creator. Yes, we see everything else. We see one bag is there. It did not come automatically. Somebody made it. There is laptop. Somebody made it. Similarly, when people see things, they understand, okay, this world is there. It has got an order. It's got some system design. So it must be done by a creator. So these are based on perception and inference, based on our senses and based on our imagination or analytical skills. So different people have created different philosophy like that. But Shastram gives us clear idea because it is apaurusheyam. It is not created by any person. It is all existing, always existing. Shastram gives us clear idea about bhagavAn and Atma. And when we understand through Shastram, that knowledge is complete. And this is the only way we can realize our own self and bhagavAn. Shastram is the only source. Now, even that Shastram, we cannot study on our own and completely understand it. We need guides, we need mentors, we need Guru. That's what the role of Guru is. He is going to use the Shastram and he is going to explain all the philosophy for us. But Shastram is all containing. It's got everything in it which we have to understand. So that Vedam must be studied for anyone to understand truth. But to study Vedam, there are restrictions. So what to do? Then Bhagavan thinks about alternative ideas. So he gives the Tirumantram route, Ashtaksharam route. This is the rahasya grantham route. Basically, for those who cannot study Vedam directly, they can study rahasya grantham, rahasya trayam. That is Tirumantram, Dvaya Mahamantram, Charma Shlokam. So Bhagavan gives these three. So he gives Ashtaksharam in Badarikashramam. He gives Dvaya Mahamantram to Sri Mahalakshmi in Vishnu Lokam. And then he gives Charma Shlokam, Gita Charma Shlokam to Arjuna in the Kurukshetra battlefield. So with the help of these three, one can understand who we are, what is the goal for us, why should we understand God, why should we reach God, what do we do after reaching God, why we have not reached Him, why we have not attained Him. All of these principles are understandable through Rahasya Granthams also, Rahasya Trayam also. That is another part. Similarly, Bhagavan has also given these dhivyaprabandhams in Tamil language, which has no restrictions. Unlike Sanskritam, there is no restriction for Tamil language. Anyone can learn, anyone can master it, anyone can become perfect in it. So the language itself has no barriers, no restrictions. And subsequently, the literature which is given by Bhagavan through AzhwArs. We saw in the last session how Bhagavan spoke through Nammalvar. This thiruvArAdhanam, in thiruvArAdhanam itself, Nammalvar says, Endraikum ennai uyyakondu pogiya, in that Dashakam, in those 10 pasarams, Nammalvar explains that these pasarams are not spoken by me directly. Bhagavan is present in my heart and he is telling me, Uyar varavaramuni. I have to say Uyar varavaramuni. So I say Uyar varavaramuni. And then he says, Udayavan Yavanavan. Then I say Udayavan Yavanavan. So basically he is saying those pastorams from my heart and I am just repeating those. So bhagavAn is having this desire to bring out his own glories through these pastorams so that people understand his glories and reach him. So the goal is the same. The purpose of Samskrita Vedam is to make people understand the nature of self, the nature of Bhagavan, and then how to reach him, and then what are the hurdles and what do we do after we reach him. So this is Artha Panchakam. This is the whole goal of Vedam, essence of Vedam. Similarly, Bhagavan is giving thiruvArAdhanam and other prabandhams through AzhwArs to reveal Artha Panchakam in simple Tamil language, which can be pursued by anyone. So for those who have the ability, who have the qualification, they can pursue Samskrita Vedam and dhivyaprabandhams. For those who don't have qualification to pursue Samskrita Vedam, they can simply pursue the dhivyaprabandhams. Ultimate result will be the same. So we need not complain, oh, why I am excluded from the club of Vedam learning group. Because that is how the design is. The design is such that we take birth based on our karma. It is not a random thing put on our head. Nobody is sitting there and doing like a wheel. This time this Atma, okay, you come here, we'll spin the wheel, and wherever ant, lion, human, devata, wherever it stops, okay, you take that birth. Nobody is doing that. It is not a lucky draw, basically. It is a design, it's a pattern. Based on our karma, we take birth in a particular family, in a particular place, in a particular situation. One may be poor, one may be rich, one may be born as a man, one may be born as a woman, one may be born in Bharatadesham, one may be born in some other country. Everything is based on karma. And we cannot really complain about it also because it's our own karma. It's not somebody else's karma. So when it is our karma, we have taken birth in the situation particularly. So we have certain limitations based on our birth. But Atma is beyond all of these births. So Atma needs to show the way for ultimate goal. That is Bhagavan's desire because he wants to help every Atma. He is trying in so many different ways. We've seen this in many occasions. He creates the world when the world is completely destroyed, annihilated, and the deluge takes over and everything is quiet, and it remains quiet for a long time. Then it is Bhagavan's divine mercy which causes the creation again. Nobody is there to ask him. No Atma is having any body, senses. Everything is completely subdued. So the Atma cannot even come and pray now. All the Atmas are just almost as good as Achit. They have no way to express themselves. Just like this table, even if I beat it, it cannot say anything. Because this is Achit. There is no knowledge in it. There is no ability to respond. There is no ability to express the feelings. So all Atmas are in that state in deluge. So Bhagavan at that time creates a world out of his own will, out of his own mercy. So that is the first help he is doing for Atmas, because when the creation happens, all the bodies, each Atma will get body according to past karma. And then he gives Shastram for the Atmas as a guidebook, as a rule book, because the Atmas have to follow something and progress. Otherwise, they will be in the same karmic cycle. If one is placed in a evil situation because of his past karma, if he does not have any guide for him to improve, then he will continue to do same bad activities. So he will again incur the same kind of birth. So there is no end for that. So that is why Bhagavan gives Shastra. If one uses one's intelligence and free will given by Bhagavan, one can look at Shastram. Shastram says, do this, don't do this. Do's and don'ts are given. So if one follows that, then one can improve one's lifestyle. Even from very bad situation, one can improve. Bhagavan gives that free will to change. Prahlada was born in Asura family. Still, he was very good. He used his independence. Again, Bhagavan's mercy is there. Still, he used his independence. And then there are many who are born in good families. They deviated from the dharma and they fell down and suffered. So we see both. Krishna, for example, Shishupala was born in good Kshatriya family. Still, he failed. Eventually, he got liberated by Bhagavan's mercy. That's a different story. But all his life, he committed offenses only. So, it depends on one's intent. One can change one's course of action. So, Bhagavan is giving all of this. So, that is the second favor. Giving Shastram is second favor. And then, even after giving Shastram, not many people are using the Shastram. They are still living their own life. They are still making their own decisions and living just based on bodily pleasure. So Bhagavan sees, he thinks, okay, let me incarnate and personally instruct them, guide them, show them the dharma by demonstration. As Sri Ram, he demonstrated how a virtuous person should be, how dharmic one should be. So in this manner, he shows by his own actions and by Upadesham also. In Ramavataram, in Krishnavataram, in Varahavatam, he gives Upadeshams. So in these many ways, Bhagavan is helping. So after his own incarnation, still not many people are approaching him. I mean, he is looking at millions of people, but he is getting maybe tens and hundreds of people coming to him. So he is not satisfied. Then he is choosing Atmas from this world. He handpicks them because he thinks, just like if a person needs to capture an elephant, a deer, what he will do is a hunter will first somehow capture a small baby elephant or baby deer. Somehow he will catch that. And then he will train that baby elephant and baby deer and make sure that it behaves the way he expects. Because he'll feed whatever it needs and he'll pamper it and so on. Then it thinks that he is everything for it. So it will do whatever he says. Then he brings that trained animal and places that animal in the forest, and it will make signals to other animals. They will all come close, and then he will put his net and capture the other animals. So Bhagavan takes this proven methodology and he says, okay, I'll take some Atmas from this world, I'll train them, I'll give them full knowledge, full devotion, make them as AzhwArs. And then with their advice, instructions, automatically people will come to me because they are looking at me and then they are either getting scared that I am supreme and they are going away from me. How can I go near Supreme Bhagavan? Or they don't understand that I am supreme, they just think me as some human being. Avajananti mAmunigaL. Then they think this Bhagavan Krishna is himself saying that they are thinking me as a human being and they are insulting me and ignoring me and so on. So he feels upset. So either way, it's not working. So he thinks you have to get people of same mindset. You have to get local people, Atmas, and give this knowledge and devotion so that they become totally surrendered to me. And then by their instructions, if they go and say, surrender to Bhagavan, surrender to Krishna, surrender to Rama, then everyone will think, oh, he is giving good advice, he is not selfish, he is not saying that come to me, like Krishna said. Krishna said, every time, surrender unto me, I am the supreme. So people will think he is very prideful sometimes. So that problem is not there when somebody instructs and somebody tells that go and worship Bhagavan. He is very merciful, he is very compassionate, he is going to be helping you. So that will strike a chord. It will be easy for people to understand. So that's the purpose of AzhwArs taking birth. And then After AzhwArs also, he is not still satisfied with the number of people coming. So then he sends Acharyas. He makes sure that people are better instructed, because AzhwArs were more engaged in enjoying bhagavAn. So they did not spend too much time sitting in an asanam and teaching others. It is only a side benefit. Even though bhagavAn wanted AzhwArs to instruct others also, they become more engaged in bhagavAn, and they sometimes only instruct others. And that itself had good impact, but still it is not sufficient for bhagavAn. Then he made sure that Acharyas appear from mAmunigaL and Bhagavad Ramanuja and so on, and things changed drastically. And we see now we are sitting together in this room. You are from Delhi, and we don't even know have a common language, but still we are enjoying Bhagavad Vishayam. That is because of Bhagavad Ramanuja's mercy, Bhagavan's mercy. That is how it is happening. So these are different favors done by Bhagavan, and one such favor is to give us dhivyaprabandhams, which are focused on liberating us. Many people will ask, which pasuram should I recite to get good marks? Which pasuram should I recite to get good wealth? Which pasuram should I recite to get my diseases cured? So people will ask. We can say, oh, all pasurams are going to do good for you only. Just the general answer only we can give, because the real purpose of dhivyaprabandhams is to free us from the eternal disease. We have an eternal disease, this body. This is the disease. We think that body has disease, body gets disease. But AzhwArs think that this body itself is a disease. We have to get rid of this body. That is what AzhwArs think. But we think that we have to get rid of the disease in the body. We get cold, we get stomach ache. We want to get rid of that. But AzhwArs want to get rid of this body itself, because they see this as the main problem. Our biggest hurdle in reaching Bhagavan is this body only. This is what is stopping us from ascending to Vaikuntha. If this body falls down, immediately we will ascend. So what is stopping us? The brake. Once we remove the brake, everything will be free. So this Divya Prabandham is focused on freeing us from this body. So that is the goal. If somebody is desiring to become wealthy, become free from diseases, free from sufferings, then really they should look for other alternatives, other options. There are other shlokams in Puranams, Itihasams, and many other different bhaktas have given different shlokas for curing disease, praying to Bhagavan and all that. But AzhwArs have given Divya Prabandham, this samsara, this bondage, the samsara are all about. We are going to start enjoying the meanings of Divya Prabandhams as much as possible. And today we will start with thaniyans, common thaniyans. This thaniyan, the word itself is a Tamil word. Thaniyan means separate shlokam, separate pasuram. It's not part of the prabandham. It's not part of the whole work of the AzhwAr who has given the prabandham, but it is given by someone else, looking at the glories of AzhwAr, looking at the glories of the prabandham, and looking at the glories of the Bhagavan, who is object of this prabandham. So usually thaniyans will glorify either the AzhwAr or the prabandham or the object of the prabandham, the goal of the prabandham. So that will be glorified in the thaniyan. So each prabandham, each divya prabandham, whether it is Tirupallandu, Periyalvar Tirumozhi, Nachiyar Tirumozhi, all of these will have individual thaniyans in the beginning. Now, there is also common thaniyans, which are recited always. For example, we recite Gurumukha Manaditya only while reciting Tirupallandu. When we recite Kannanu Chirutami, we don't recite Gurumukha Manaditya. But there are common thaniyans which are always recited at the beginning. Usually the thaniyans are recited in the beginning. Before starting the prabandham, we recite the thaniyans as a respect to the author of the prabandham, and then we recite the prabandham. These common thaniyans are recited in the beginning of any divya prabandham recital, stotra padam recital, rahasya granthams recital, kAlakshEpams, or any other even thiruvArAdhanam. So, in many of these occasions, we recite these thaniyans first, the common thaniyans. These common thaniyans speak about the greatness of AzhwArs and Acharyas in general. Instead of speaking about the dhivyaprabandhams themselves, these common thaniyans speak about the important Acharyas in our Guru Parampara and also the AzhwArs in our Guru Parampara. So that's what we are going to see today. We've got the English translation already in our website, the brief translation. So we'll use this brief translation to go through the simple meanings of these thaniyans. So usually we start with SrISailESa dhayApAthram dhivyaprabandham yatindra mande ramya jAmAthru munim. So that is the first thaniyan we usually recite. That is in glorification of varavaramuni Swamiji, ramya jAmAthru Swamiji, maNavALa. That is the first thaniyan we recite. And then we move on to the next thaniyan. In sthOthAthri Mat, Vanamalai Matham, in that system, we recite ramya jAmAthru yOgIndhra padareka mayam sada. This thaniyan, which is in glorification of first sthOthAthri jIyar, who is known as ponnadikkAl jIyar. He was inseparable from varavaramuni Swamiji. So that is why in our matham, where this sthOthAthri jIyar is the first swAmy, we recite his thaniyan as well, along with varavaramuni Swamiji's thaniyan. After that, lakshmInAtha samArambhAm natha yamana madhyamam asmadacharya paryantam mande guru paramparam. That thaniyan is recited. This thaniyan is again a salutation for our whole guru parampara in a collective manner. And then we recite yonityam achyuta padambuja yugmaru, that thaniyan. This thaniyan is in glorification of Bhagavad Ramanuja, because Bhagavad Ramanuja is the main acharya, pravartakacharya for our sampradhAyam. He is glorified in a separate thaniyan. After that, we recite Mata Pita Yoteyasthanaya Vibhutihi. This thaniyan is in glorification of Shatakopa Swami, Nammalvar, Parankusha Swami, because Nammalvar is the chief of AzhwArs and he is the Paduka of bhagavAn also. Sri Shatakopam is the Paduka of bhagavAn and he is the one who gave the essence of four Vedams in his four prabandhams. So he is considered as the main AzhwAr. So for him, there is a separate thaniyan. And then finally we recite Bhutam Sarascha Mahatahvaya Bhattanatha, that thaniyan, which is a glorification of all AzhwArs together. We glorify all the AzhwArs together. So these 5 plus 1, 6 thaniyans we recite every day at least few times. In the morning while dhivyaprabandham recital as part of thiruvArAdhanam. And then whenever we do kAlakshEpams, whenever we go to temples. So at least every day we recite 2-3 times these 5 thaniyans or 6 thaniyans. So that is very important for us to understand the meanings, at least briefly. We have elaborate commentary for these thaniyans in Tamil, given by Pillilokam jIyar. Pillilokam jIyar is an acharya who came subsequent to maNavALa. Couple of hundred years ago, couple of hundred years later, after maNavALa's time, Pillilokam jIyar appeared and he has given a lot of wonderful works for us. And he has given Vyakhyanam, commentary for these thaniyans, which are very elaborate and very in-depth. They bring out the glories of AzhwArs Acharyas very nicely. Those are there, but we are going to just see the simple meanings. So we'll start with the first thaniyan, SrISailESa dhayApAthram dhivyaprabandham gunarnabam yatindra pravanam mande ramya jAmAthru munim. So this is the first thaniyan. This talks about varavaramuni Swamiji, who is very, very dear for us. More than us, he is very, very dear for Sri Ranganatha. We are all in this Divya Kshetram. Sri Ranganatha accepted varavaramuni Swamiji, maNavALa maNavALa as his Acharya. See, Bhagavan was eager to have a good Acharya. In his incarnations, he has had Acharyas. During his Ramavataram, he had Vasishta, Vishwamitra as his Guru. He got instructions from them. But they were all focused on self-efforts. All the rishis, all the sages, they are all upasakas. They perform sadhana based on their own tapas for many, many years together, thousands of years. And also coming from even past lives. They would have done lots of penance, and by their own great efforts, they have attained this state of being a sage. And oftentimes we see that the sages also slip from their position. For example, Vishwamitra became um, attracted towards Apsaras, and he went away for some time from his tapasya, and then he regained eventually. So Sri Rama was not very satisfied with his gurus, because this guru, position of guru, is a very exalted position. It is not a casual position. One has to be very perfect in all aspects, with respect to personal conduct, with respect to being compassionate, with respect to being very, very broad-minded and troubling oneself for the benefit of others. So these qualities are expected in a guru. So Bhagavan was expecting such qualities in Vishwamitra and Vasishta, and he could not find them. They are good, but they are not most perfect up to the expectation of Bhagavan. So Bhagavan has a high expectation of Guru. That is why in our sampradhAyam, the Acharyas, our purvacharyas, had such high standards. We are going to see how maNavALa maNavALa was, how Bhagavad Ramanuja was, how Nammalvar was. So these are the standards for us to look up to, our inspirations. So if we see a Guru, we expect these qualities. That is why they get so much honor. In many places we go, the Acharyas will be sitting on a big asana. The Acharya may be very young in age, but he will be sitting in an asana. There may be other scholars, other elderly SrIvaishNavas, they will be sitting on the floor. Why such glory is given for an Acharya? Because of his jnanam, bhakti, vairagyam, not for his age, not merely for the asana, but for the jnanam, bhakti, vairagyam he carries, compassion, the conduct, personal conduct, all of these matter. So Bhagavan is having such high expectation, so he is not satisfied with Vishwamitra and Vasishta. So he keeps searching. In Krishna Avatara, he finds Sandipani. Sandipani was good. He could teach Krishna all the skills within a very short time frame. And Krishna was happy. But he went and asked Sandipani, Muni, I need to give you Guru Dakshina. What can I give? At that time, Sandipani, Muni, he doesn't decide immediately. He goes to his wife and they consult each other and they discuss what should we ask. And then they come back and ask, we want our son back. So Krishna is like, oh, why you are like this? I am standing in front of you, Parabrahmam, Paranjodi, Parameshwara, whatever Vedam is glorifying. I am standing in front of you. You are coming and asking for your son who died some time ago. Very materialistic desire. So Krishna is thinking, okay, that is your understanding. You still have attachment in this world. Okay, still I will fulfill your desire because you are my Guru. So that is the satisfaction he had with Sandipani. And then subsequently in Archavatar, Bhagavan is looking for good Acharya. So at that time, he sees many good candidates. For example, Tirumangayalvar, Parkala Swami. When he discusses with Tirukkannamangai, bhagavAn, Bhaktavatsala bhagavAn, he says, if you want to learn the meaning of these pasurams, you can come to me. Parkala Swami says, at the end of this Perumbura Kadal, there is one Dashakam in Periyathu. Tirumangayalvar says, if you want, he looks at Bhagavan's face. Bhagavan is Bhaktavatsala. That name of Bhagavan is Bhaktavatsala in that Dividesham. He looks at his face, Tirumangayalvar looks at his face, and he understands that Bhagavan is very eager to learn the meanings of the pasurams also. But Tirumangayalvar says, if you want to learn these pasurams, you cannot just do it. You have to come like a shishya in front of me. Then I can teach you. So Bhagavan was not ready at that time. He was still thinking what to do. Tirumangayalvar suddenly posed this question, how can I respond to him? How can I accept him as Acharya and Guru and submit totally as a Shishya? So at that time, so even though he did like Tirumangayalvar very much, he did not take up that position immediately. It is said that subsequently, Kalivairi Das Swamiji, he is of the same nakshatram as Tirumangayalvar, Parkala Swami. Kartika Masam, Kartika Nakshatram. And then Bhaktavatsala Bhagavan, Krishna, is Rohini Nakshatram, Avani Masam, Shravan Masam. And then he comes down as Krishna Pada, Periva Chanpillai. So now in Vibhava form, they had that Acharya Shishya relationship. It is said as an experience. It's not, we cannot say, oh, where is the proof for it? Where is it said in Shastram that Bhagavan appears like this? It is just an anubhavam, just a correlation based on their Tirunakshatram. So Bhagavan is searching in the case of Tirumangayalvar, and then subsequently he sees Bhagavad Ramanuja. Of course, Bhagavad Ramanuja is perfect. He wants to accept Bhagavad Ramanuja as his Acharya. In Tirukurumudi Dividesham, when Bhagavad Ramanuja comes there, at that time he is asking how you are able to manage to get so many disciples. I am not able to convince as Krishna. I tried giving Charma Shlokam and all, but I did not get many devotees, disciples. But you got so many. How? And then for that, Bhagavad Ramanuja says, you have to ask like a Shishya. You cannot just like that ask. So at that time, Bhagavad Ramanuja convinces Tirukurumudi Nambi. And then he comes in a submissive way. And at that time, Bhagavad Ramanuja was thinking, okay, let's put one asanam for Mahapurna, my Acharya. I will sit next to it and give instructions on my Acharya's behalf. So he did that. So Bhagavan's wish was not fulfilled there also. Having like full service, full Acharya Shishya Bhavam, that did not get fully fulfilled. So Bhagavan was waiting. And this time Bhagavad Ramanuja appeared as varavaramuni Swamiji, maNavALa. And maNavALa manifested very exalted qualities. He was very soft spoken, very compassionate. He was totally immersed in Bhagavad Ramanuja. So he manifested the ultimate Acharya Bhakti also. And then he served his Acharya, SrISailESa. He served his Acharya until his Acharya was in this world. And then only he left his Acharya. So he manifested the Shishya qualities perfectly. See, an Acharya, to become a good Acharya, first he must be a good Shishya. Only then he becomes a good Acharya. So, this in maNavALa's case, varavaramuni Swamiji's case, he manifested all of these qualities in a perfect manner. So, Bhagavan was very, very eager to accept maNavALa as his Acharya. So, he was waiting for that opportunity. So, maNavALa comes to Srirangam eventually after SrISailESa, Thiruvai ascended to Paramapadam. based on his Acharya's orders, he comes to Srirangam, and then he is looking at the place. It was very chaotic here. Everything was destroyed, everything was misplaced. Acharya Purushas were not here, Acharyas were not here, they were all dispersed because of the fear of invasion. They all went away, all the literature were all destroyed, and then temples were desecrated. So when maNavALa came here, he slowly reformed everything, he corrected everything. He brought back the literature, he brought back the acharyas, he gave them honors, he did many kainkaryams in the Dividesham, and engaged all the people together, brought them all friendly. He manifested so many noble qualities. Even when people offended him, he showed them the good side. He always showed them the wonderful, humble nature. So people naturally became attracted. For example, if you go and shout to somebody, they give smiling and they show love towards us. Then naturally we cannot continue on our abuse or shouting. We will become submissive ourselves also. So that was the behavior of varavaramuni Swami, maNavALa. So looking at all of these qualities, bhagavAn made up his mind that he will be my permanent acharya. It has to be written on stone, not just words, not just the one time event. So he ordered varavaramuni Swamiji at the end of one Pavitrotsavam, he ordered varavaramuni Swamiji to come and give this Bhagavad Vishayam, kAlakshEpam. Bhagavad Vishayam means meanings of thiruvArAdhanam, mainly. Not only thiruvArAdhanam, the Tirupallandu, Kannanu Chiruthambu, thiruvArAdhanam, Ramanujanuthandadi, and with so many different commentaries, and with reference to Vedam, and then with reference to Itihasas, Puranas, Smritis, and then other AzhwArs Pasurams, other Shastram, Mimamsa, Vyakaranam, and so on. Everything in a very holistic manner, Bhagavan ordered varavaramuni Swamiji to give that series of lectures. And for that, once the Pavitrodsavam was over, Bhagavan ordered that all the Utsavams will be stopped here. And only enjoying thiruvArAdhanam is our primary activity in this whole Dividesham. So in the Chandanu Mandapam is the Mandapam in front of Sri Ranganatha, outside Dwarapalaka. So where the Dwarapalaka is, that Mandapam is called Chandanu Mandapam. In that Mandapam, Bhagavan is seated, facing the east direction. He is facing the east direction. He is seated in the Mandapam, and then maNavALa is seated facing Moolavar, Periperumal. So on his left is Namperumal, Utsavar, and then AzhwArs Acharyas, who was there at that time, the Vigraham, Divine Vigraham, they are also brought there, and then all the SrIvaishNavas, all the Bhagavatas of this Dividesham, everyone gathered, and the kAlakshEpam series commenced with great interest, with great involvement. Everybody attended the kAlakshEpam. It was not like a half an hour, 1 hour session, it was continuous sessions, because the whole time was spent in enjoying thiruvArAdhanam. thiruvArAdhanam is such a deep subject that we cannot just listen to it once and just listen to portions of it and leave it. Every pasuram of thiruvArAdhanam is so important and so valuable, and it has to be understood in context of so many different aspects. So maNavALa was giving such elaborate lectures with deep and profound knowledge and devotion, and everyone was enjoying and being immersed in this wonderful kAlakshEpam series, lecture series. And at the end of that, finally, on the completion day, Namperumal himself appears as a Archaka child. This child is known to people here, but he has not spoken much before that. Suddenly that child appears and he recites this shlokam as a as an offering to Acharya. SrISailESa dhayApAthram Dibhaktiyadi Gunanavam Yatindra Pravanam Mande ramya jAmAthru Munim. So he is glorifying varavaramuni Swamiji by bringing out his special qualities which are not found in anyone else. So that is the advent of this SrISailESa dhayApAthram thaniyan. We have to know that because we are going to start that. So in this manner, bhagavAn submitted the thaniyan for varavaramuni Swamiji, maNavALa, and not only he submitted that, he also sent Srimukam to all the Divideshams through Vishwaksena. Vishwaksena is the main commander-in-chief. So all the Divideshams are sent a message saying that this thaniyan should be recited in the beginning of all recital and in the completion also. So when we start, we recite. When we complete, we recite. So always remember varavaramuni Swamiji, maNavALa in the beginning and the end. So bhagavAn brought this great honor for maNavALa that every time we start reciting pasurans about bhagavAn, we have to first start with honoring his Acharya. And not only he gave thaniyan, now the reason for giving thaniyan is a Shishya should glorify the Acharya by singing praises. So offering thaniyan is one such activity. Offering the thaniyan to Acharya is one activity where the Shishya shows his devotion towards the Acharya. And then the Shishya also have to give his most valuable possession to Acharya. So bhagavAn sees what is his valuable possession, Adishesha. So he gives that Adishesha as a throne to varavaramuni Swamiji. That is why in every Dividesham we see maNavALa seated in Adishesha throne. This is not there for any other Acharya. It's only for maNavALa because bhagavAn offered that. bhagavAn offered his own position to maNavALa. So that is his second contribution. And finally, these things done in Srirangam, if they were not propagated, they would have remained in Srirangam only. But bhagavAn ensured that it is propagated everywhere. So the Shishya has main duties, that is offering praises to Acharya, offering his most valuable possession to Acharya, and bringing out his glories to public. Everyone should know Acharya's glories. That is also an important task of the disciple, of the Shishya. These three were done by bhagavAn, Sri Ranganatha, towards maNavALa. And after that, there is two more things which are to be done by Shishya compulsorily. The Acharya's Tirunakshatra and Tirtha Utsavams. Acharya's Tirunakshatra Utsavam must be conducted by Shishyas. Similarly, Tirtha Utsavam, that is, after the Acharya ascends to Paramapadam, that day is known as Tirtham. That is the conclusion of the Acharya's presence in this world. So that is known as Tirtham or thiruvAdhanam. That must be conducted by Shishya. So this is the responsibility of Shishyas. So the 5 responsibilities mainly. That is singing the praises of Acharya, offering one's valuable possession to Acharya, and bringing the glories to everyone, bringing the glories of Acharya to everyone, conducting Tirunakshatram and conducting the Tirtha. So the Acharya who is given Artha Panchakam, yes, in Saptakadai, Saptagata, Balanjolai Pillai explains that one who gives Artha Panchaka Jnanam completely is the real Acharya. So that is given by Acharya by giving the Tirumantram, Dvaya Mahamantram, Charma Shlokam, and explaining those meanings and making sure that not only we understand but we also start practicing the principles. That is the role of the Acharya, that such Acharya must be honored in these 5 different manners. And bhagavAn does all of these. We saw the 3 aspects first. Now, on the Tirunakshatram and Tirtha Utsavam of maNavALa varavaramuni Swamiji, Ranganatha conducts those Utsavams. Sri Ranganatha, bhagavAn conducts these two utsavams. For these two occasions, the Archaka from Sri Ranganatha temple, the main Archaka for the day in Ranganatha Sannidhi, he will come and do the Taligai offering to varavaramuni Swamiji. And all the bhogam will come from Periperumal's Tirumadapalli. That offering to be given will come from Periperumal's Sri Ranganatha's Tirumadapalli kitchen. And all the Kankiripuras from Sri Ranganatha Perumal's temple, they will all come to this maNavALa Sannidhi and conduct the Tirunakshatra Utsavam and Tirtha Utsavam. So, bhagavAn Ranganatha himself does all of this for his Acharya, and for such Acharya, this SrISailESa dhayApAthram thaniyan is offered. So, this thaniyan is a very unique thaniyan, very wonderful thaniyan. In the next session, we will start seeing the meaning of this thaniyan, not only this thaniyan, also all the other thaniyans. Today I thought of doing that, but in enthusiasm, I went through some portion of some greatness of dhivyaprabandham, and then, of course, we have to understand the importance of the SrISailESa dhayApAthram thaniyan, which we recite every day, again and again and again, we are reciting. So we should enjoy the greatness of this thaniyan first. So that is given by bhagavAn himself, and it's a very wonderful thaniyan, which with a very, very deep meanings, which we will see in the next session. AzhwAr Emberumanar jIyar thiruvArAdhanam, jIyar thiruvArAdhanam. பல்லாண்டு பல்லாண்டு பல்லாயிரத்தாண்டு பல கோடி நூறாயிரம் ஆண்டு திங்கள் மணி ஒன்றாம் செவிதிரு காப்படியோ மூலம் நோடும் பிரிவின் ஆயிரம் பல்லாண்டு வடிவார் சோதி வளத்துறையும் சுடர் ஆழி பல்லாண்டு படப்போர் புக்கு முழங்கும் பாஞ்ச சன்னியமும். We'll see in the next session. Next session will be on Saturday.